Hi everyone. My ex-wife and I first crossed paths during our college days. She was undeniably beautiful and always seemed to have a swarm of admirers around her. While we shared some classes over the 4 years, I never made a move due to the competition. It was only after a casual study session that we started to get to know each other better. And the rest, as they say, is history. We tied the knot and began our careers in the same industry, though with different companies. It was a male-dominated field, and my career took off quickly while she struggled to find her footing. She switched jobs within the first year of our marriage and continued to face challenges. Reasoned by our third year together, she became pregnant with our first son, but she bravely soldiered on with her work throughout the pregnancy. However, life took an unexpected turn when, during a routine physical, her doctor discovered precancerous cells in her cervix. A doctor advised us to have more children quickly if we wished to expand our family, as the condition would progress and eventually require a hysterectomy. So as soon as she felt up to it, she became pregnant again, giving birth to another son within a year of the first. After further medical tests, different doctors recommended that she undergo the procedure without delay. With 2 infants to care for, she had the surgery. It was a heart-wrenching decision, as we had initially planned on having a large family. She channeled her energy into being a devoted mother, excelling in the role. She became a stay-at-home mom, managing all household responsibilities while I continued to advance in my career. We had close friends from our college days, A and B, who were also starting their family around the same time as us. We had a strong bond and frequently spent time together, going on vacations, dinners, and outings. However, life threw us a curveball when B lost his job in 2001 due to economic challenges. In his field, he struggled to find work in our area, so he took on the role of a stay-at-home dad while job hunting. My ex-wife and B grew close during this time. They spent time together with their children, and their friendship deepened. Unfortunately, they eventually crossed a line and had an affair. After about a year of this affair, B approached my ex-wife with a proposition regarding a threesome, something we had only fantasized about. At that point, our own intimate life was still active, though it had slowed down. B had a friend, C, who was interested in joining them in the bedroom. My ex-wife agreed, and they engaged in a threesome. Afterwards, C revealed that he was used to paying for such encounters and left a couple of $100 bills, asking for a one-on-one with my ex-wife. She needed time to think about it, and B would get back to him. Eventually, C introduced her to someone else, and a business was born. When B found new employment, he had to leave my ex-wife on her own. She kept her double life a secret, using a separate phone and renting a storage unit for her work-related items. She used the earnings to purchase outfits her clients requested and even bought a discreet car to avoid suspicion. She worked exclusively during school hours, ensuring that it didn't affect our family life. A kind home life appeared normal, and she never introduced the money she earned into our shared finances. She claimed to have tightened our budget to afford the kids' summer day camps. As our sons grew older, our family life remained relatively stable, with weekends dedicated to family time and our physical relationship usually reserved for those days. I was focused on my career and often worked long hours. Our evenings were typically spent cuddling on the couch while watching TV. Then in 2016, our eldest son was in college, and the younger one was a high school senior. I received a call from B, informing me that my ex-wife was in the hospital with severe injuries. He was vague about the details, but he mentioned that she was hurt badly. I rushed to the hospital to find my wife hooked up to various machines, her face marred by a broken jaw, nose, and fractured orbital bone with a possible concussion. She was in pain and emotional distress. The police had already come and gone, leaving me eager for answers. A nurse suggested I let her rest, handing me a bag of clothes they had retrieved from the hotel room where the incident occurred. I noticed unfamiliar items, including heels and a dress that she would never wear. The nurse confirmed that these were the clothes from the hotel room. After they moved her to a room, I informed my sons of the situation. Later, as the fog of pain medication lifted, my ex-wife began sharing more details of the incident. In my quest for answers, I called B, demanding to know why he had been aware of the situation before me and what was really happening. That's when he admitted to my wife's double life, but omitted the affair and his involvement. I was devastated. This over time, my ex-wife recovered, and I learned the full extent of her secret life. I also disclosed the affair to our close friend A, who promptly kicked B out of their lives. As my ex-wife regained her strength, I made the painful decision to end our marriage and asked her to move out. She eventually moved in with B, and I initiated the divorce process. Now, 5 years after our divorce, I still find it difficult to move on. My love for her persists, and her absence feels like a profound loss. It's as if she's passed away, and the grief is overwhelming. My sons are aware of what she did, and I haven't spoken to her since she left. Update. Last night, I received a call from my oldest son, ER, who was out of town for the holiday weekend. A friend called him to tell him his brother, S, had been in a motorcycle accident. He was with him, but did not see the accident as he was riding ahead. I rushed to the hospital. They were cleaning S and were sending him for x-rays. I was told to have a seat, and the doctor would be out. A few minutes later, as I had my head leaning back and my eyes closed, I heard my name. I looked up, and my ex is standing in the doorway. She asked for news. I said I was waiting. She asked if she could sit with me. I invited her to a seat near me. I have not seen her in 5 years since the divorce happened. I did not know what to expect. I assumed that she would be disfigured from her beating. She was not, although her face was not as flawless as I remember. The one thing I did notice was that her eyes no longer sparkled. This was a feature I never got enough of. Even with a mask on, her eyes did not look the same. Funny what you notice. When she smiled, her face used to just light up. I imagine she just has her resting bitch face now. Anyway, while waiting, we had a nervous catching up talk. She mentioned she liked the landscaping I did, and how the plants now matured really look nice. This tells me she's been by the house, where I have no idea where she lives, and my sons were told never to mention her to me. Hearing and after the divorce, I tried to purge any remembrance of her. I replaced the bushes in the yard as it was something she had planned and planted. I did not mention that the inside of the house was redone. Also, Rize even ripped out a wall. I had a construction dumpster in the driveway for many months. She asked how I was doing. I don't know why, but I was honest that I had put myself at a standstill by working too much. However, I recently have been to a therapist and joined a gym. I also have taken up bike riding. She volunteered that she no longer just left it there on said. She stayed with B for a couple of months. She also was seeing a counselor who encouraged her to take some college courses in her degree field. That took a couple of years. She is now employed full-time. She said she has dated minimally, leaving the statement open for me to answer. I figured the boys were keeping her up to date on me, so I had nothing to add. The doctor appeared and discussed the extent of the injuries. The most serious was to his foot and ankle being pinned under the bike when it went down. They had scheduled him for surgery today. Everything is good. He just needs to heal and rehab. So he will be in until at least tomorrow, depending on his head injury, slight concussion. I offer my house to stay in as I have a room and can work from home. We will finalize that today, although that means his mother will want to visit. That will be a healing process for me. Update number 2. My son is healing well, and we can see progress every day. There is still a way to go, but we are hopeful. We have decided that he should stay here while he convalesces. He is determined to return to work next week, and his boss is arranging for him to work from home. It is a relief because getting him into the back seat of my SUV is quite a challenge, given how he needs to stretch out. The daily commute to and from work would be a nightmare in his current condition. Many people have been asking about my ex coming over to visit. Whenever she does, I make myself scarce. I head to the gym or go for a bike ride. My oldest son has attempted to arrange a sit-down dinner for the 4 of us, but I have always shut that idea down. Surprisingly, my ex has been very gracious about it all. She never pushes for anything. Instead, she comes over to spend time with our son, cooks dinner for them, and even brings groceries when she decides to cook. Occasionally, his friends come over and things can get a bit rowdy, but it seems to distract him from his current situation, and that's a relief. Although it might sound like we never talk, that's not entirely true. Our conversations rarely stray from the topic of our sons or their lives. Update number 3. This will be my last update. My son's recovery is progressing nicely, according to the doc. He still has a long road ahead with physical therapy, but he's managing to hobble around. He's still staying in my house and working from home. Just to give him some space, I've returned to the office. Now, my ex has started doing something that many of you have mentioned before. She's been doing little things around the house. My son isn't the tiniest person, so she's been cleaning up after him and doing his dishes. Occasionally, she prepares a meal for him and always leaves a plate for me. I've told my son that he can have it for lunch the next day. The other night, she asked me if I'd be interested in going out to dinner, especially since my son had some friends coming over. Declined. Later, she brought up the idea of us having a meal together to clear the air. Once again, I said no. Finally, I mustered the words to express my feelings. We ended our relationship long ago because of your actions. It took me a long time to get over what was lost, and I do not intend to revisit a relationship with you. She simply replied with an okay and said she understood where we stood. I did mention that I didn't mind her coming over to visit our son until he's back on his feet. I thanked her for cleaning up, although I assured her it wasn't necessary. I want to thank all of you for your encouragement and kind words, but I'll get through this. My heart has hardened, and I'm determined to move forward.